I would just like to talk to you guys about what basketball means to me. Basketball is one of those sports that you can play year-round, so if it's too cold or too wet, like what we have here in Petersburg, we're able to do it just anytime we want.
I've been playing basketball pretty much my whole life since I was tiny, and so basketball is a big part of my life.
Why I like basketball is because it's fun when you're on the court and you play as a team.
I love basketball because I saw my brother play basketball in high school, and he went to state, and he started on varsity his second year of high school. And once I started playing basketball, I loved it ever since.
Basketball is an important part of the culture in Alaska, especially here in Southeast Alaska.
We want to create an atmosphere for our youth of today to be able to plug in, to be able to grow not only on the court, but also off the court, and for their character to be built up.
One of the ways to get better at basketball is to play against other teams. But since the Ferry systems are down right now, we're not able to play against other teams because a lot of teams don't have airports. I would like to get better at basketball, and we can't right now because of the ferries.
Ferries are really important for kids in sports here in Southeast Alaska because it's like no other place.
I like to compete against other teams and go on trips and do tournaments, but sometimes it's difficult for us to do that because of the ferry systems.
It makes me sad because we won't be able to travel as much.
The loss of the ferry system, it really affects the teams and even the families who decide to use the ferry, because it's an easier support of transportation. Especially with all the players, and it gives them a good time.
To be able to have to go back to the students and say, hey, you know what, this tournament is canceled due to the ferry is very heartbreaking to see the kids' disappointment. So the ferry system is a huge part of what we do here in Petersburg. And not only in Petersburg, but the surrounding communities as well.
Without the ferry system, the basketball program and the communities that rely on that basketball program for the experience that it provides is not sustainable.
I do middle school basketball and AAU, so it's 2 different seasons. Right now I'm doing AAU, and we have to fundraise a lot to be able to go on trips, and sometimes if we don't have a ferry, it'll be a lot more expensive and harder to fundraise.
The ferries are so vital, and without the ferries, the cost, it's just really hard.
I'm unable to travel this year due to costs, and it will be traveling next year as it costs too much for schools to bring a varsity and a JV team. I'm an Alaskan, I matter, my voice should be heard.
For me as a coach, my goal is to give my players as many opportunities to be able to grow as a player as possible.
It's also kind of all the families that decide to go in there for trips or just going around the state, it's going to be a big crucial thing to them because you're going to have to spend extras on, supplies with a different kind of transportation, especially not having to use the ferry system. It's going to be pretty difficult for most other families.
The ferry system is not only important for basketball, but it's also important for everyone that lives here because we're a lot of different islands and we don't have any way to just travel by car or van.
There are things that are unseen to those that don't have the ocean as their road and that are on an island. But for us, this is how we've lived for many, many, many years.
How are you going to help Alaskan towns like Petersburg?
I hope that as you move forward in leading us, you take this into consideration when looking at our transportation system in Southeast. I believe that you will do what is best for all of Alaskans, which includes our small communities in Southeast Alaska, just like Petersburg.
We believe in the ferry system. We want the ferry system. It is a way of life here. We need our ferry systems back. To us, it's very, very, very important that we have that.